Let's beat the waiver wire. Let's set our lineups. Let's talk about Thursday Night Football. Let's do it all right now on FFT Express. It's Adam and Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Adam.
Hello, sir. All right, so let's beat the waiver wire. We do have 4 teams on bye next week, so we got to get out in front of it a little bit here. And we've got the Bears, who have just a really good schedule coming up. So you could look at Kmet or you could look at Keenan Allen. I just want to bring him up. I know that for a lot of people, Keenan Allen is not available, but he is 78% rostered, and that maybe you could argue should be closer to 100. So let's go ahead and get Keenan Allen on our rosters. But who do you want to stash right now?
I like the idea of stashing Darnold. I like the idea of considering stashing Justin Fields. These are 2 quarterbacks that I can't say that they've got great matchups in week number 5, but they are playing well. And so in the case of Fields against Dallas, maybe that's a spot where he will be able to run a little bit more. Okay options. I would still rather, there's other names that you have on the list like Geno Smith, even though he's got the Niners, Aaron Rodgers.
He has the Giants next week.
Oh, he has the Giants? Never mind. Yeah, I'm 2 weeks ahead on Geno. No, Geno would be awesome. Caleb is interesting. Like, we're going to talk about a lot of Bears as waiver wire guys, but Caleb is interesting. He started to show signs of making some outstanding throws in week number 3. And you mentioned it, the schedule starting in week 5, it's Carolina, it's Jacksonville. I know there's a bye in there, but he's somebody that can get you through those bye weeks. No question about it.
Okay, yeah. The thing is, like, there aren't a ton of quarterbacks who are available and are appealing available in a lot of leagues. So hopefully one of the Caleb Williams, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins group could be available too. Otherwise, it's going to be maybe Andy Dalton. We'll see what he does. We got to stash Roschon Johnson, right? 48% rostered.
Yes, he's going to continue to be in, at minimum, a passing downs role for Chicago. We talked about that on the main show. And I think that he could be in line for anywhere from 9 to 13 touches and maybe a little bit more on top of that, but certainly somebody that can get you by as a bye week replacement at RB.
Okay, so that's Roschon. Any other running? There should be other running backs.
I'm glad you brought that up because Roschon's good, but he's not going to be my favorite. Kareem Hunt is available in about as many leagues as Roschon.
Really?
I'd rather stash him.
Why?
I don't. What's up?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know. I don't really see it with him. He's like an emergent. To me, he feels like a break glass in case of emergency.
I don't know if the Chiefs view him the same way.
Okay.
And did you watch Carson Steele from week 3?
I watched the game, so I didn't go back and watch the tape, but I thought he was fine. He was
fine. I just don't know if he's elusive. I don't know if he can make.
No.
Certainly, I don't think they're ready to have him play on 3rd downs, and I know that they've got some Samaje Perine for that. Kareem Hunt could do that if they needed, and Kareem Hunt might actually have a little bit more explosiveness than Carson Steele. I know it sounds silly. How could a 29-year-old have more explosiveness than this undrafted rookie? But he might, and I think the fact that he's ascended quickly from the practice squad to the roster does make Kareem Hunt interesting. I would like to stash him, and I would consider him ahead of Roschon because Roschon is still going to be sharing with 2 other running backs. And it sounds like Khalil Herbert is going to be the goal line guy for Chicago. Like, that's his role.
Yeah.
And that makes me nervous as far as upside goes for any running back in Chicago. But Kareem Hunt is on the list. Emmanuel Wilson is on the list. We talked about Tyler Bidet. He's a rookie in Denver. More of a deep league stash than anything else, but he's on the list at running back as well.
And again, I'm going to say it again. I don't have a ton of conviction, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's there, and he was the number 2 running back in the preseason, has a chance to play next week. So he's 17% rostered. Any wide receivers you want to stash?
I'm looking at the list that we had on the show. A lot of the guys are already rostered in a lot of leagues. Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison, DeAndre Hopkins, Darnell Mooney. Mooney's the one that would be of interest, but I'm nervous about how that offensive line looks moving forward for the Falcons and whether or not Kirk Cousins will have time to really attack downfield. That's where Mooney has been making a bunch of big plays. There was a report that Mike Williams was going to get more involved in the passing game for the Jets. I don't know whose expense that would come from, but if he's playing and he's going to be certainly a red zone target, but also someone that can work the perimeter in one-on-one matchups, that's someone that I wouldn't mind having on my bench. I didn't want to draft Mike Williams, but now would be the time to get him going. And for the Jets, and certainly for fantasy managers, as a bye week replacement at receiver.
All right, let's take a break. We'll answer some questions and do a quick recap of the Cowboys and the Giants after this.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
Giants, Cowboys with a 5-point win. I think it was 20-15. Field goal fest. I was saying to Dave earlier, I have a league with A.J. Brown, Puka Nacua, Joe Mixon, and Tank Dell. My top 3 receivers are all out. My starting running back is out. I started Rico Dowdle and Wan'Dale Robinson in a PPR league, and it may not be enough, but I got a lot more than I thought I would. And I really think those are the only 2, interesting players to talk about coming out of this game. You know what to do with Lamb. You know what to do with Neighbors. Ferguson's a must start. Dak's pretty much, he's a good start.
Yep.
What about Dowdle and Robinson? Who do you think is more valuable rest of the season, Dowdle or Robinson?
I think I would say Robinson, just because of the fact that he's going to continue to have a lot of games with high target volume and high catches. And so if you're going to get a lot of catches and it's full PPR, that's someone who could be another player that you could find. I don't know what his rostership is.
Wan'Dale's like 30% or something.
He's 30% rostered. Throw him on the list. It's too late to add him for this week. You can't beat the waiver wire now, but when waivers start happening before week 5, you could use him as a replacement at wide receiver for sure, because while he wasn't the first read very often, at least I didn't think he was the first read very often, he was the second read a lot, especially when Daniel Jones was pressured. And that's going to continue to happen. And because the Giants couldn't run the ball well, he's an alternative in the offense to running. It's a short throw, high percentage throw, let him make a play after catching the ball. So I don't mind him in PPR. I think that he's actually a good guy to have on a fantasy bench. With Dowdle, it's about how much more work will the Cowboys give him. Through the first 4 games of the season, he's been right around 45% of a snap share. Last night, Thursday night, his first game with double-digit carries. So I want to see them use him more, and they should use him more. But this is actually another 3-headed backfield. Zeke is working a decent amount. It doesn't mean he's taking a lot of snaps and a lot of carries away from Rico Dowdle, but he's in the mix. And then they've been using their fullback, Hunter Lepke, on third downs. So this is kind of a mess. I don't think there will be many more games where Rico Dowdle will be like this. But if the Cowboys ever did make the decision to shrink it from 3 running backs to 2, Dowdle would be the guy to get that opportunity. Yeah. Would absolutely be happy to have Dowdle on my bench as a raw RB to use as a bye week replacement for the rest of the season.
Okay, let's read some questions here. First of all, this is ridiculous, Jack. Steele had 70 yards on 17 carries. Give Kareem Hunt 17 carries. He's going over 100 and getting a touchdown. What? Kareem Hunt averaged like 3.2 yards per carry last year. In his last 2 seasons, his longest run, I think, is 23 yards. Give me a break.
I'm not ready to say that he would get over 100 yards on that much, on that amount of carries, but you have to at least accept the fact that he's fresh now and that he's starting to get back into football shape. The Chiefs definitely like him. They would not have brought him back.
They were desperate, but they didn't bring him back.
Given his history with that team and what happened in 2018, they did not have to bring him back, but they did. It might have been a little bit out of desperation.
They don't have a problem with that.
And he's probably healthier. He's definitely healthier now than he was last year. He was playing with a sports hernia last year.
I shouldn't have said what I just said. I'm sure they have a problem with what Kareem Hunt did, but they're a team that kind of does, I think, sign guys who have some history. All right. Anyway,
definitely no doubt about that. Some of them have worked out, others have not.
Let's see some questions here. If you have any, would you drop Zamir White for Roschon Johnson, Chase Brown, Emmanuel Wilson, or Keon Coleman?
I would definitely drop him for all those guys. If there's one guy that I would prefer, I think I'd probably start with, I really like Chase Brown, but I don't know if he's going to really evolve this week or next week. So you might be able to get Roschon now, see how he looks this week. If he does get more work, great. You've got yourself a stud. If not, then maybe you pivot to Chase Brown after a week or 2.
Would you pick up Cam Akers to start over a Seahawks running back and drop Kareem Hunt?
Definitely not.
Okay. Pick 2 to start. Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, PPR.
I'm sitting Garrett Wilson.
Would you buy low on Zamir White?
No.
And last one, Jordan Mason or James Cook in PPR?
I will double check my rankings to confirm this, but I do have Mason a few spots ahead of James Cook in that tough matchup for him against Baltimore.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Good luck this weekend. We will talk to you later on Fantasy Football Today.